This is week 2 of indoor seeds. I've been in here for a couple hours now. This week I was hoping to do a lot more things outside, but it has been raining nonstop every single day. I did get a chance to stop at a soil place, which my next video should be about it, so stay tuned for that. I did get my soil test results. I will talk about that in that video. I also have some new soil bags to use, but that's not this. I'm still using my winter soil block because I still have quite a few to use and I don't want to be wasteful, and it actually does work really well. Winter soil is the one that you actually see the added nutrients in the coco coir. I don't use peat moss. I try to stay away from it. Coco coir is the way to go, and I prefer it for seedlings, but I am going to use a different potting mix when I pop up, and I'm going to show you that in the next video. Before we get started on the new seeds that I'm going to be planting today, I wanted to give you an update on the ones for last week just to see how they germinated. So they've done really well. Some of them have taken a little bit longer. Broccoli, the cabbage, the cauliflower were the first ones to sprout. I think it was on day 2 or 3. I still haven't seen anything on the onions, but I know that they take just a little bit longer. And these are gonna stay in this 72 cell tray until they get their second pair of leaves. This one is the only one that has 2. But once they get that, it would be around week 3. I will bump them up to a bigger pot. While I'm showing you the plants that I have, look at this one. I thought this was a ghost pepper, but it's not. It's a California Reaper. It's been growing in this pan with some cotton in it. Let me move it over. I've never seen this medium before, but I think it's finally lacking some nutrition because we're getting some yellowing. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. It was a gift. I'm sure that it's time for me to bump it up and change it, but I wanted to show you how neat this one is growing because I haven't really done much to it. It's been sitting here with this sunlight and it's growing. I think I've only watered it once every 1 or 2 weeks. So it's survived, but see how now it's losing some foliage. So we need to add some nutrients. So I will be popping this one in a different container. I'm really trying to be a little bit more cheerful today. It's been a struggle. I don't know if you've seen my shorts, but we've had some really cute new family members. And today, unfortunately, we lost one of the chicks. And it's different than the ones that I've lost due to a predator. And these are hens now, but this is a baby chick. We just purchased her yesterday, so she hasn't been with us 24 hours. And this morning, we look at the crate where we have her, and she's just laying, and she hadn't moved, and they were stepping on her, and automatically, I thought we lost her right away. And so I pick her up, and I was afraid to pick her up because I didn't want to face the truth. But I pick her up, and she's moving. And so I'm quickly like, okay, maybe she's dehydrated. Let's get her some water. So I would put her beak in the water, and she kind of moved a little bit. So I'm like, okay, we have hope. So I kept her close to me. I was trying to warm her up. And I think after the hour, I was noticing her starting to breathe a little bit heavier and actually breathing and moving a little bit. But then it quickly turned into no movement at all. And so it made me realize, and I learned a lot from taking care of her while she was passing, that they pass just like we do, in the sense of somehow we come back to life right before it's time to go. And I'm thinking it's like to say goodbyes. And witnessing that was the tough part. I had never witnessed that with one of our pets or one of our animals before. So it really touched me. I was actually crying. And that was maybe around 12 noon today. And it's 4:30 p.m. and I'm still struggling. So it's a little tough. So sorry if my eyes look a little bit sad. I'm trying to be happy for her. I even named her before she passed. So that was little Emma. Before I get teared up again, let's get started to the seeds that we're going to do today. Now this is the part that's a little bit hard for me because I'm trying to decide how many I need from each one of these packets, because I can get a little crazy, especially when you have all these cells, that I just want to add a lot. But I need to be more well aware of planting only what I need and maybe a little bit in case something doesn't go right. Echinacea is one of the ones that I do love for teas. I love echinacea, and because I want to drink lots of teas, then I know that I need a lot of these. I also need a lot of lavender because we do have a lot of deer here, and lavender is deer resistant. They don't like it, and lavender is beautiful. It's drought tolerant, basically grows anywhere you can put it, and I want to add this all over our property, not just in our garden, so I need a lot of lavender. Oregano, I don't need too many oreganos because one plant is sufficient, but I do want to add one and quite a few of the beds, just one plant, because it's really good for companion planting. So I'm looking into that a lot as well. I'm only going to do probably five of these. So because I want 5, you see how I have 6 cells here. I'm going to fill all the 6 because out of all the 6, I probably have one that won't germinate, which is good odds. So probably just do a row of each. Plus it's much easier than having to have so many labels all around. I don't know too much about this one. This is going to be a first, and I know it's small. I'm not sure if I'm going to have too many containers. I know I have 3 right now. I'm going to add a couple more. So that's what this is going to be. I think it will hide in the raised beds. So we're going to give it a try because I've never worked with yarrow before. Chamomile is going to be one of the ones that I also plant 6. Now these are the ones that I can get away with planting too many. All of these annuals, these are edibles. They're beautiful. The only thing about them is they don't grow very tall. So I have to be very specific on where to place them in the vegetable garden. These are the ones that I'm going to focus on today because actually all of these are frost tolerant. Right now our temperatures are between 40 and 60 degrees. So that means that in here, it is warm enough for them to germinate and for them to live without having any additional heat source. Now the peppers, they do need a heat source. So I'm going to use a heating mat and I'm going to take these inside the house. I was hoping that I didn't take anything inside, but it's still pretty cold every now and then. And I think in here, it's about 15 degrees warmer than outside. So with our lowest being 40-45 degrees, that puts me right at around 60-degree weather. And if I have to, a few nights I can move things into the house. But peppers, they won't work. I have to have them indoors, and I'm only going to really consider the amount of peppers that we're going to eat. We don't necessarily use a lot of hot peppers, but I'm going to focus on the ones that I'm going to dehydrate and convert into powders. I love paprika. Paprika is my favorite of all the seasonings so far. Cayenne, a little bit of cayenne, but I do want to incorporate that. So a few of those, and the rest probably 2 to 3 plants, and that's it. Just for the odds that one might not germinate, or when I transplant something doesn't go right. So think about that when you're deciding how many plants you need. So for these trays, I did the exact same thing as I did on the previous video. If you haven't watched that one, I will link it here. But basically, I'm just gonna have them ready. So for next week, when I'm ready to plant the next seeds, I don't have to do this process all over again. I just come and lay the seeds. See these tiny seeds? Most of the ones that I'm planting right now are super small. So an idea of what to do with these seeds is they're so small, you don't place them inside a hole. Basically, you lay them just on the very top of the soil and you press them down. So just pressing them lightly so they can get some of that moisture from the soil to germinate. Can see them, but they're so tiny. Most of those were super small like that, except for the echinacea. The echinacea are much larger, so you do have to dig a little bit, basically a hole twice the size of the seed, and then that's it. So like I mentioned before, I'm going to press these down so that they can attach to the soil and get a little bit moist. Another thing I'm going to do to maintain that moisture is add some of this vermiculite. I've talked about this before. This helps retain that moisture as well. For the pansies and violas, obviously I would love a ton. But just so that I don't get carried away, because I know I can always come back and add some more later, is I did 2 rows and I split it in 3 of each so that I have enough of overall violas and pansies. I hope I didn't press those seeds in a different spot, but that's the idea. So I'm going to grab some of this vermiculite, just sprinkle it a tiny bit because I don't want to bury the seeds. I just want to help a little bit just in case, because I'm not home all day long. I don't want these to dry out. As I'm doing this, I'm going to talk just a tiny bit of how I've gotten carried away with seedlings in these 72 cell trays, because it's so easy to think that you have a lot of space when you're only looking at the small tray. But in fact, they don't stay here. In 3 weeks, I have to bump them up, and I will get the large pot, the 3-inch pots that I have stacked back there. Now I have to find a space for 72 of that size, which is a lot of room. So I need to be well aware that I can only do these seedlings, because I do have to go buy some more shop lights for lighting. I'm going to try to hang all the lights all the way across and utilize the bench like I should. Here in the next few weeks, I will convert this over, because remember, I have 3 weeks to get these moved out. So I have a little bit of time. But that's it for today. I'm just going to do this one tray, even though I filled all those other trays as well, because I want to try to focus on spending some time here really thinking about the amount of seeds that I need. So spending the time filling these is a lot easier than brainstorming on the garden plan, which I haven't completely laid out. I have some ideas. I have inputs from FarmLux. I really love Misha. She's got some good stuff in her website. So farmlux.com, I believe. You can find her, and she has companion planting there. I'm going to try to follow some of the things that she does, but that's the stuff that takes some time. I don't want to make the same mistake and have a lot of plants that I don't have room for. I know that I have a large garden, but I also don't want to add a lot of something that I'm not going to use too much of. So I'm going to be wiser about that this time around. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned. I have a lot of things coming, especially the orchard. I'm brainstorming about that one too. I can't wait to share my ideas, and I also need your inputs. So feel free to give me all your tips down below at the comments. But for now, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.